Let me turn on my camera here. Hi, everyone. It's Edie coming in for my March live streams. And this month, we are springing into action with video. And so today, what I wanted to do was to talk to you guys about everything around spring. I know that you've heard of sayings like spring cleaning isn't just for your house, it's for your mind and soul as well. Or some people have heard the saying, out with the old, in with the new. Spring is a time for fresh starts and new beginnings. And then the last one is spring is a time for plans and projects. So that's sort of what I was thinking about for March and for all of my live streams. Hi, everyone on YouTube Shorts, and hi, everyone to YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. If you are able to be with me today, I thank you for being here. Please let me know that you're here. I'm going to try to make sure that I can see the chat, but I appreciate you being here. So I wanted to sort of walk you through my thoughts with regards to how I prepare for spring. Spring is one of my favorite times of the year. And I think it's because the weather is starting to change. I'm in Brooklyn, New York, even though today is not a really nice spring day. It's a typical spring day in that it's raining, but it's not like, blossoms and really gorgeous weather. That's not happening yet, but that is what I love about spring. And so it brings about an opportunity for us to, with our YouTube channels, as well as with our businesses, reevaluate, look at what we're doing, see if there's anything that we need to change so that we can sort of tweak things and hopefully have, or with the intention of having, a much better rest of the year, especially coming up with the summer. Everyone knows what the nooks and crannies are of their business. They know what times of years that they're going to dip, or that things are really going to blossom and be much more eventful. So you want to plan for that. I am not a huge planner, so this is a little unusual for me. But for 2024, I really wanted to do things a little bit different with my business. And I really wanted to be much more thoughtful with what I was doing and what my intentions were. So one of the things that I opted to do, if any of you have been following me on either Shorts or on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, is that I made a commitment for 2024 that I wanted to do weekly live streams. And so with that, there's a little bit of a comfortability that can happen. That's actually a good thing. And then there's like, oh my God, I have to go live. What am I going to talk about type of thing. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today in terms of preparing for your spring with your content. So for me, and I don't know if you're interested in doing the same thing, I opted to go the live streaming route for two primary reasons. One was I was getting bored and tired of creating custom videos for my YouTube channel. I also wasn't being very consistent with it. And I just wanted to do something that was more in the moment. And I felt that live streams was going to be, and is, a challenge for me, because that is not something that I'm comfortable with. That is not my sweet spot, to do live streaming. And so I really wanted to challenge myself as much as I could. And so doing and choosing to do live streaming just made more sense for me. And so that was my goal. So then the other thing that came up is, okay, I'm going to go live every week. How am I going to go about doing this? So for January and most of February, I was essentially winging it. So I had my plans on what I wanted to talk about. I just wasn't announcing it in advance. So I'm actually going to share my screen. Sorry again, Shorts, if you cannot see my screen, but I'm going to share my screen so that, in fact, let me get myself out of this. Can I make this? I can't make this any bigger, unfortunately. Oh, that's because I'm sharing a tab. Okay, well, such is life. So what I did was I would come up, I actually used ChatGPT and Jasper. I use both of those AIs for whenever I'm doing research or I want to get some ideas of what I want to talk about, outlines for my scripts and things of that nature. And I did a quick search on what were some ideas that I could talk about every single month for 2024 with regards to um, my expertise when it came to video marketing and video strategies. So the first thing, as you can see, I have the first two are scratched out. I came up with setting the stage or just planning out what I was going to be doing or what my audience could be doing in terms of prepping for the year. And then last month, I did a little different twist on things in honor of Valentine's. I focused on tools, platforms, or software that I loved, and I shared that with my audience. And I primarily did that as well because I knew that I was going to have a workshop, which is the other thing that I have created as a goal for myself this spring, is to get focused on coming up with another way where I can be of use and be helpful to my audience. And that's by having workshops that will allow me to not only show you how I use a particular tool, but also have the brand there so that you can ask them questions and you can get feedback directly from them with regards to if it's a tool that you've never heard of and you've never used, or if it's a tool that you are familiar with, you have used, and maybe you had some roadblocks with them. So that's the other thing that I'll talk about in a minute. So the reason why I did the February theme that way was because one of the very first workshops that I was doing is a tool that I just started using in December. And so I wanted to feature that as a tool that I was enjoying and that I was loving and that I was adding into my arsenal of tools that I use on a consistent basis. So if there are, and I'm going to put this out to both parties, if there are tools that you are interested in me featuring on my live streams, please post them in the comments below. DM me if you're on I was going to say Instagram, on LinkedIn. You can DM me. Also, if you're on Facebook, DM me with any of those ideas. And so for March was in honor of spring, springing into action. And so I will talk to you a little bit later about the remaining live streams that I have coming up this month. And then April is creative challenges. May is going to be monetization methods. And then I have the rest for the rest of the year. Now, all of these may not, like the latter parts, may not actually happen. As the months go by, I plan to tweak, and based on whatever's going on in my business, whatever I'm seeing as a trend or a theme that people are asking about, I will most likely alter or tweak that month's theme and insert whatever I feel at the time is the need for the audience. So you're definitely, your thoughts, your questions, your comments are definitely going to mold the way that I create the content. I am more of a show and tell type person. So I do have a tendency more often than not to want to show you how to use tools and very tutorial based. I am still going to try to do that as much as I can in the live streams. But I also want this to be informational, and I would love it to be interactive where you can share with me what your questions are and what your thoughts are so that I can answer them in real time. So one of the things that I do when I'm planning out and that I'm offering as an idea for you as you're planning out your spring, if you've not already planned out your entire year, I'm doing this because it's the first time. I used to do things very ad hoc. Whatever I was in the mood to do, I would do. And so, as I said, last year I planned out in theory for the entire year. So I have all of these themes for the entire year. And a lot of that correlates with the things that I plan on doing, promoting, and things of that nature, the services that I plan on offering in my business. A lot of that also coordinates with that. But then there might be, I'm one of those people where spur of the moment, I may come up with something. And so I'll have to change things as I'm going along. So one of the first things that I do, and I don't know, I'm sharing a tab. Okay, so I know what I'm doing here. So I'm going to go on to, I'm switching now. So this is ChatGPT. So for ChatGPT, the way that I use ChatGPT is ChatGPT is my research assistant. So if I get an idea, if I get a thought of something that I want to do, I go to ChatGPT. This actually happens to be 4, but normally I'm on 3.5. You don't need to use 4. And I will research ideas. So if I have an idea of, I want to do spring themed video projects. I will go into ChatGPT and I'll type in whatever the question is that I'm asking, and it will spit out its results as it did for me with the entire year of ideas. And then from there, I can tweak it according to what I specifically want or need. And that is a good way to save yourself a tremendous amount of time when it comes to trying to brainstorm ideas, because that's where I spent the vast majority of my time, was trying to figure out what I was going to talk about. As entrepreneurs, we are multitasking a lot. Unless we have a huge team behind us, we are multitasking a lot. And so in that, it's very hard to sort of sit down and get focused unless you're super, super organized. And I'm not that organized. I'm a little organized, but I'm not that crazy organized. Not that that's crazy, but I'm not that super organized. And so for me, I needed something to sort of jumpstart me and get me on the process that would take less time than what it was traditionally taking. So what I ended up doing was I would end up coming into ChatGPT. So I come into ChatGPT, and let me look at, this was one that I was contemplating. So one of the theme ideas that I had contemplated was, were there like new video formats that I could talk about for March? What I ended up doing was blending this. Was this the one? Sorry. This is it. So what I ended up doing was blending it into trends. So, and that was because I was using ChatGPT as my guide. So I used it in order for it to just give me some general ideas of things that I could talk about. And then I was going to filter down what I felt not only was in my expertise of my understanding, but also if it was going to be time sensitive, that I could be able to create it for my live streams, because I don't want my live streams to ideally be more than 30 minutes. Sometimes they've gone to as many as 40, but ideally the sweet spot is to do it for 30 minutes. And so this then just sort of jump starts that idea. And then from there, I can then more fine tune it into what I want. When I want to turn it into, let's say if I, this was a good idea, but maybe it's not one for live streams, but I want to do it for a presentation that I've been invited to do, and it's going to be a 20-minute or a 30-minute presentation as well. I would then take this and put it into, you can still use ChatGPT, but I would then use this on Jasper and turn that into a PowerPoint presentation or a slide presentation. So that I could then turn that into a presentation I could use for that particular event. So that is how I use, and one of the tools that I use when it comes to, let me go back here, when it comes to preparing myself in advance for my planning of content. You can plan a month at a time. You can plan 3 months at a time. You can plan for the entire year. That is totally and completely up to you. I never used to plan, so this is fairly new. And I'm sure that there are a lot of people that are out there that are queens and kings of planning and have better tips than I do. But these are the tips that I know have been working for me. And I highly recommend them because my goal is to do things that take the least amount of time and that can help me expedite whatever it is that I want to do. So I love using tools that allow me to do that. And that's where ChatGPT and Jasper come in, is just in enabling me to figure out what live streams I want to talk about. What do I want to say in those live streams? And I literally have bullet points. Like what I'm looking at right now are simple bullet points. I do not use a script. That's why I always go over time. I just use, I know how I want to open, what I want to talk about, and there you go, pretty much. So the other thing in building your strategy when it comes to content planning is that it needs to be strategic in terms of when you're doing themes, it needs to be in honor of whatever that month's theme is. So this month is all about spring. So it's going to be, everything is about taking action, springing into action. So that's all that I'm going to be talking about. Also, if that can correlate with a service that you have or some sort of promotion that you have, that's also going to be something that makes sense. So for example, for in April, I think it's creative challenges. So I'm going to talk about the challenges that we face and how to be creative with them, but also I'm going to be announcing a challenge that I'm going to be doing for my audience at that time, which is a little unusual for me because I haven't done a challenge in quite a while. So this is going to be a new, exciting opportunity for me to offer to my audience the ability to have a challenge. So I want to make sure that all of the content that I'm going to be creating for the month of April is going to lend itself well to leading into that. So it's really, really good if you can build your strategy for whatever your content is, whether it's live streaming, and you don't have to do live streams. You can do shorts, you can do pre-recorded, you can do whatever it is, build into that all of the things that you anticipate that you might need to do in support of whatever that theme is. So the other thing that you can do with regards to, the spring is obviously, like I mentioned before, you're planning. I already talked to you about the live streams, and then I also mentioned my workshops. My workshops are actually going to be on a monthly basis, ideally. My first month workshop was last month, and it was on Cast Magic, and you can still catch the replay. I think I have a link that I might be able to share with you, but if you need to get the link, just DM me and I will give you the link for the replay. That's not going to be up for the rest of time. It's only going to be limited, and I haven't decided when I'm going to take that down. But that's my first workshop. And the workshop strategy behind that was I wanted, instead of just doing traditional tutorial videos for my YouTube channel, I wanted to be able to give back a little bit more. And so what I wanted to do was to combine how I use it, show you how I use it, but then marry that with working with the brand and having them share whatever questions it is that you have, like I mentioned before. So that is a strategy as well. And what I'm going to be doing, the strategy behind that as well, is especially if they have a new feature, I'm going to try and time the release of that workshop around the time where the new feature is going to be available so that you can see it in action and then be able to ask questions about it. So that's going to take some finagling. And this is my first time, so I can't guarantee that it's going to be every single month because we're here on the 6th of March and I have no idea if I'm going to have a workshop for this month. And I'm going to guess I probably won't, but I will for sure in April, and then later on in the year for sure as well. But in the future, that is my intention. I want you also to think about using the springtime to sort of refresh and revamp things. So you can look at your YouTube channel. So for example, I plan on reevaluating my channel art. I think I want to have something look a little bit brighter. For those of you who are on my YouTube channel, you know that I have sort of looks like a spotlight and it's dark. Black is not typically one of my colors. My brand colors are all based on the theme of the Caribbean. That's where I grew up. So I used an amazing painting that was done custom for my mom when we first built our house in St. Thomas. And it's a gorgeous, I will one of these days, probably on social media, show you what the original image was and then talk about why I use that as my branding. So I have a lot of like midnight blues, sunset, yellow sunlight, greens like palm trees. So black isn't typically a color that I use. So I'm going to be probably rethinking how I want to do that. Um, in another instance that you can rethink things for your YouTube channel is certainly revamping your custom thumbnails. Not everyone, and I know I'm not one, has the thumbnail tester that YouTube is slowly releasing, but that gives you the option of being able to upload, I think it's 3 different thumbnails, and having YouTube's system select the best one for you. So this might be an opportunity for you to look at some evergreen content that you have on your channel that you know is going to be or has been a decent, at least when it came out, it got some decent views, but has slowed over time. This might be an opportunity for you to refresh the titles, to refresh the thumbnails. So take this opportunity in the spring to do things like that. And then also, when it comes to equipment, right now I have my Logitech cameras and they are 1080p. I am slowly but surely considering, because I know my phone records in 4K, I am going to probably consider upgrading my webcam to 4K, because YouTube is focusing a lot of their attention now on viewers that are watching YouTube on their TV screens. And I, for one, am one of those people. If I have an opportunity, especially if it's going to be a video podcast, it's an interview, and I know that it's a fairly long interview, I'm going to look at it on my TV. If it is me even scrolling and just trying to find, it could be more often than not, it's news related, like political news. I will scroll through my YouTube channel on my TV. So in order for your content to look its very best, it is ideal for you to record in 4K. If there's now a growing population that's going to be watching your content from the luxury of their living rooms on really massively large screens. So the better camera that you use, the better off you'll be. And you don't need, again, to go out and get a DSLR, but you can upgrade your webcam to one that records in 4K. So that is definitely something that I'm looking at. Another thing that I would recommend that we do for the spring is that we try our best to stay motivated. And, you know, we start off the year, I know I did, like gangbusters. I'm going to do it. Everything's going to be great. Everything's going to be wonderful. And then February or latter part of January comes and you're falling flat or things aren't going in the way that you anticipated. And so by the time March and April rolls around, you're kind of like slightly deflated and you don't know exactly what to do. This is an opportunity for you to sort of pull yourself up, refresh, start looking at things a little bit differently, start doing things differently. They're always saying that we need to experiment. I am a proponent of experimenting. I've preached it long enough. I'm doing it a lot more now. And that actually helps us figure out what direction might be the best direction for us to go in if we're able to experiment and see what's working and what doesn't work. And I think they say experiment often and fail quickly so that you can get past it and move on to the next thing that hopefully will be the thing that works. And that's just all about overcoming those challenges. And we are all faced with these challenges, and it's just vital that we do our very best in order to get past them. And I know that that's something that I have dealt with, and everybody encounters it. Doesn't matter how like on it that you seem, it may seem like that person's got their act together. There is no issues that they are experiencing at all, when in fact, behind the scenes, they're struggling. And so that happens to us all. We all have mindset issues that I know I've dealt with. I'm dealing with it by having a therapist that I speak to on a monthly basis. I have a life coach and I have a business mentor. You need to have people that you can vent to whenever you're having really difficult times. You need to self-analyze. You need to be able to just get the help that you need in order to overcome those challenges. So with that, I'm going to call it a day, and I'll ask if you are interested in having group coaching, having accountability so that you can get through these next steps with your YouTube channel. Feel free to click the I don't know. I think it's over. Nope, sorry, it's that way. Up in the left corner, you can join my digital course. It comes with 6 months of group coaching and accountability. It is a 6-month long program that is on sale right now. That sale is going to expire to the general public on the 11th of March. So I highly recommend that you take advantage. It's 50% off. So I would take advantage of that. And then also, I just wanted to let you know what's coming up for the rest of the month. So on the 13th is spring cleaning your YouTube channel. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. I kind of touched on it as an idea of something that you can do. On the 20th, it's springing into action, overcoming procrastination in video creation. I'm the queen of that. And then finally, on the 27th, it's spring trends in video marketing. So I hope to see you both on YouTube Shorts as well as on YouTube, Facebook, and on LinkedIn. If you have questions, please post them in the comments and DM me. I want to know what your comments are. I want to know what your questions are, and I want to know what kinds of content you would like me to feature on upcoming live streams and on my upcoming workshops. So thank you for being here as per usual, and I'll see you next week.